It was $500 that we paid just for them to tell us there's no availability for speech therapy, and he never got speech therapy. The last paycheck of 2024 is officially here, which is so crazy. This whole year flew by. Time is literally a thief. But let's talk about how we're spending our money this payday. The only other money that we have coming in this month is from my Amazon storefront, which usually comes in the 29th or the 30th. Besides that, this is it. You'll see that a lot of my paycheck routines are kind of repetitive just because we have a routine that we stick to, but let's get right into it. So as you guys know, whenever I pay for something, whether that be bills or charges off of the credit card, I not only track every transaction, but I also highlight it to make it easier so that way I know what's already been paid for. You won't be able to see it in the screenshot, but with Google Sheets, of course, they do tally up or add up the amount of whichever boxes you click in the bottom right corner, but it's cut off on the screen. Either way, if you need some place to do your budget, I have this spreadsheet linked in the description. It provides every month for the entire year, so it'll be good if you need something for 2025. But anyway, let's start with the expenses. I did highlight the electric bill, the water bill, and the gas bill because I did pay those. I want to say last week I went ahead and just paid those, got that out the way. The middle section here is my spending. I have been definitely slacking with tracking the spending from our debit card, which is what I usually put in the middle column. The outer two is my credit cards. We have two, so we'll just ignore that middle column this time. I don't know what has been up with me, but usually I do put my debit card transactions in the middle. Obviously, you don't need to track those as much usually, unless you really just want to be on it with where your money's going. But for me, since I do have to repay the credit cards, I track those very closely. So anything that's in blue are things that I already put the money aside for and it's sitting in our high yield savings account. I like to do that just so I know, okay, we have the money for this stuff, but this stuff that's not colored, we still need to come up with that money for it. So most of this is going to be groceries and things like that. But on the other card, that card, they have been giving 5% on Target and Amazon. So I have been using that card a lot more than usual. I have put everything in bold that's actually a Christmas present, just so I know, okay, again, that money is already sitting in the savings account. There's a whole technique to it, but to me, this makes it the easiest way so I can just keep up with everything and not forget what needs to be paid, etc. This paycheck did come to $3,300 as expected for both me and my husband combined. So what I am doing with that paycheck, for one, we're sending $2,600 to the mortgage. That is all principal. I know down here it says $2,885, but $2,600 of that is coming from our actual paycheck. An additional $285 is going to be coming from our other sources of income that we have. By the end of the month, we're expecting our other sources of income to come to $700, and that's this over here. That's what we're planning to do with it. First part is $175 going towards taxes for that money that I'm receiving, and then $525 of that being the $285 towards the mortgage, $170 towards the emergency fund, and then $70 that I'm going to put someplace else. Not sure, could be HSA, could be car maintenance. I just feel like there's a million different places that our money could honestly be going at any given time. So we'll figure that out at the end of the month once all that money's in. So $3,300 is what we're starting with. If we subtract $2,600, that leaves us with $700. $600 of that is going towards our normal sinking funds, which is Christmas and property taxes. So with Christmas, obviously we're past Christmas now. What I'm really going to be doing is just leaving that in checking instead of putting it in the high yield savings like usual, and just paying back the card transactions that we made. It'll be a total of $900, including that $100. And then the $500 being property taxes that I'll just put in the high yield savings. Oh my gosh, our property taxes are going to be due here in a couple of months. That's that. That leaves us with about $100. I'm just going to be paying for some of these transactions that are not colored on the spreadsheet with that $100. And then also just paying for our expenses. These are really all of our expenses for the month, aside from the sinking funds for property taxes. This is everything. I love lowering our expenses because it definitely keeps things just simple. We already have the utilities paid. Everything else is pretty much just internet, phone, a few streaming services that we do, League Pass, and then we put aside $700 for groceries this month, with 5 grocery trips. The only thing I'm really thinking about for 2025 is just medical expenses. Like, I took my oldest son for his first vision exam today. Honestly, it didn't go well, but that's a conversation for another day. Just me and the doctor, I feel like he wasn't listening. I wasn't being heard. But like I said, a conversation for another day. The reason I bring that up is just because they want to refer us to a specialist for something. He's not on my vision insurance, so we'll see what they have available. I find that typically when they say they have options, it's income based. Not that we make a ridiculous amount of money, but even so, typically we're considered too high to qualify for that stuff. Even next year with me working part-time, we're still going to be just under 100,000 gross. And then let alone they referred us to Children's Hospital. The last time we've done any business with Children's Hospital, they referred us for speech therapy for my same child 5 years ago when he was about 2. They did the evaluation, they billed our insurance. They said, okay, yes, he does need therapy, but we hadn't met our deductible yet. So we were responsible for majority of that visit. It was $500. $500 that we paid just for them to tell us there's no availability for speech therapy. And he never got speech therapy. Now he talks just fine. It's like you'll do these evaluations and get referrals, and they'll charge you all this ridiculous amount of money just to evaluate and tell you what you already knew for them to not be able to help you. With this, I've had kind of a rare occasional lazy eye that every now and then will drift, like maybe if I'm just looking off into space or something. I've been to many doctors. I've never been advised it was an issue. I even recently brought it up just to ask, and they said, you have full control over your eyes. It's not a cause for concern. Went to this doctor who really just liked to hear himself talk, honestly. And I brought it up because he asked, at the beginning of the appointment, he asked, do you have anything else? Any other questions you have, before we get started? And I just brought it up. He honed in on this one thing for the entire visit. And now we have a referral to get a specialist. I'm gonna do my due diligence. I'll reach out to the specialist and things like that, or if they reached out to us and just kind of explain the situation, talk about how we don't have vision insurance. But nonetheless, regardless, I still want to have, money to pay for extra things that could come up medically. I'm going to start having $50 contributing to our HSA, in my paycheck rather than doing it after tax. At least it's something, our health insurance costs are going down by $50. So I'm going to just offset that by contributing to our HSA. I know that my future self will thank me. It's definitely going to be an adjusting to having less money, but honestly, I'm so confident in my decision to cut my hours. There's nothing else I'd rather do. My last week of full-time work is next week, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video, and I will see you next time.